So good morning, everybody. We were just giving it another couple of minutes for others to join. I hope you've grabbed your cup of coffee and you're ready for a quick 2026 bootcamp. So the idea behind today's webinar is to run through a couple of things that we want to highlight that are quite important in terms of your financial fitness, and things that are great if you can get that done at the beginning of the year. Tick those things off and be able to benefit from that for the rest of the year. So today's session is an open webinar. That means that we've invited clients from across our client base, different companies. So we won't be presenting anything specific to a particular company. It'll be a little bit more generic information. But if you've got any questions specifically relating to your company benefits or structure in terms of the benefits, please feel free to contact me on Teams afterwards and we can have a chat. All right, but today's session really is to say, okay, it's the start of 2026. We want to make sure that we are financially fit. What 3 things can we tick off for the start of the year? I see there are a couple of others joining, which is great. Welcome, everybody. Okay, I think we can get going. Others can just join in the meanwhile. We will put a recording of the webinar on our YouTube channel as well. So if you want to be able to go and watch it, if someone joins late, it'll be there as well. All right, so let's jump in. We've got 20 minutes. Let's not waste it. Okay, so financial fitness item number 1. We want to activate medical aid cashbacks by doing our wellness check. Okay, so what is this all about? Most of you would know that there's a big push in terms of medical aids trying to get people to interact with the wellness programs. So if you're a discovery person, it's Vitality. If you're a momentum person, it's Multiply. If you're a Bonitas person, it's the Benefit Booster. And I'm going to show you pretty much every medical aid across the country has one of these things. And you might wonder, like, why is this happening? Are they just trying to get us to pay more, jump through hoops, and be annoying? Or is there actually something underlying here? And the truth is that there's that saying, your health is your wealth. And we hear it a lot. But you just sit back and think about somebody who's had a major health incident in their life. And often this happens in your 50s, early 60s, just when you're trying to gear up for retirement. And it's quite a devastating thing from a financial point of view to suddenly have this major health incident that you didn't see coming. It affects your ability to earn an income, right? Because a lot of the time, if you're too sick to work or you're having to go off and get treatment, you can't be active at work, right? The other thing it does is it costs you a lot of money. I don't know who of you's been for blood tests lately, right? But you're showing some symptoms, doctor doesn't quite know what's wrong with you, and they go, okay, you know what, let's run some blood tests. 2,500 Rand later, they tell you, you seem fine. Maybe it's the heat. But healthcare costs a huge amount of money. And the fact is that the way that the medical aids are structured obviously gears up to put you in hospital and treat you in hospital. So all the stuff that happens outside the hospital while you're still trying to figure out what's wrong with you, it's going to cost you the money. So poor healthcare is expensive. And it's not just us who know that. The medical aids know it. And there is empirical evidence to show that it is cheaper to pay somebody a reward for looking after their health than it is to treat them when they end up with a chronic condition. And that's why medical aids are pushing the wellness agenda. That's why they're saying to you, we will reward you for walking your 10,000 steps. We will reward you for checking your blood pressure. Because the healthier they can keep you, the less you cost. The less you cost, the less the premiums go up. So really it is in our interest to engage with this thing. And then an interesting point, healthy habits compound. Now, I live in a town in KZN, and around here, cycling is a big thing. Now, the interesting thing to me is that it's not so much a few people trying to keep fit. It's a cultural thing, because you'll see, okay, the cyclists start popping up. Then there's specific tracks that are done in the forest for these people. Then there's clubs. Then there's little coffee shops popping up all over the place, specifically for cyclists. Then the coffee shops are selling alternatives to coffee, which are healthier. And this whole thing compounds. When you buy into that culture, it has a compounding effect on you. Healthy habits compound. So, in terms of the wellness agenda, what things do we highlight? The healthier you are, the better your ability to earn money. Poor health is expensive, and healthy habits compound. This is why medical aids reward good health habits. Okay, so what does the thing look like though? Now, because we have an open audience here, obviously you guys will all be on different medical aids. I'm going to show you some information across the board, which I will then also make available on the chat. So you'll be able to go and look at your specific medical aid. And if you're struggling and you don't quite know exactly how to do this thing or activate this thing or access it, then feel free to reach out to Wynsam Wealth and we can assist you with it. All right, so they will reward you for taking care of your health. And these rewards really take different forms. Let's have a look here. All right, so these are some of the big schemes that we deal with. Discovery is the biggest scheme by far in this country, and most of you are probably on Discovery. Now, we've done a couple of sessions at different companies about the Personal Health Fund. That is Discovery's incentive for you looking after your health. Most of these programs start with you doing your wellness check. Okay, so if you want to say to yourself, right, maybe my medical aid offers me something free here and it's going to pay me money for good health, where do I start? You start with the wellness check. The wellness check is when you take yourself off either to a wellness day at the company, or you go to a pharmacy that is linked to your medical aid. All right, and a lot of them are linked to the Discams and the Clicks, but you need to check your specific medical aid. And you do your basic check, blood pressure, cholesterol, sugar. That then starts the ball rolling on all these other things. Okay, so if you're a Discovery member, you're going to go onto your app and it's going to tell you, right, you've got your personal health pathway, click it, what's my first step? And it's going to tell you, step 1 is, you do step 1, they give you money into your medical health fund. Step 2 is, do step 2. Step 3 is, okay. If you're a Momentum member, so we also have a lot of Momentum members, the Momentum system works through Multiply. So you need to activate either the free, or you're already technically on the free Multiply version, or you pay for the Multiply Inspire. But you're going to have to download the Multiply app because everything happens on the app. Once you've got the app, you're going to do your healthy heart score and your fitness check, both of which can be done on the app. So you don't even need to necessarily go to a chemist. I would say to people, rather actually go have the check done, because the app will screen your face and tell you if you're healthy, but the check actually takes proper blood pressure readings and stuff like that. Okay, if you're a Bonitas member, again, you do your wellness screening. You do your mental health online questionnaire. This starts activating your extra money. How much extra money can you make? It is going to depend which scheme you're on. But at the end of the day, all of these schemes are going to actually give you money that you can then spend on healthcare items for participating in these wellness checks. All right, so if you are a member on one of these and you want some specifics, how do I'm on Momentum, where's the link to the Multiply app for me to download? send me a request on Teams, tell me exactly what you're looking for, and we can put you in touch with those different links and the different information that you're going to need. But the takeaway is that they're all going to give you something, but you have to start the ball rolling by doing the wellness check. All right. And have the right app if you are a member that uses apps. I think it's as far as I'm aware, Discovery and Momentum use the apps. Bonitas, you just do the screening. BestMed, you do the screening as well, and then you use the website to book your biokineticist and dietitian consults. Okay, what else do we have? Well, all major open medical aids. Now this looks very busy, but basically what I'm trying to show you here is that you have benefits that you can use that the medical aid pays for. If you're not using this, then you're literally throwing money away. So preventative benefits, these are things that the medical aid would like you to go and do, and they will pay for it. And you'll see we've listed the different medical aids. I've got 2 pages of medical aids here, and I'll put this in the chat. And there's a list of all the things that your specific medical aid is going to cover for you to go and have done. Now, it is better to consult the actual medical aid brochure, or if you've got the app, generally the app will tell you which of these things you qualify for. For example, if you are an adult, you do not qualify for baby immunizations, obviously. But there's other things, for example, mammograms often are only open to women over a certain age, depending on which scheme you're on. So it's best just to double check exactly what you qualify for in terms of your age and in terms of your option on your medical aid. But you do want to be using these things, because otherwise you haven't done a preventative check. The fact that it's preventative means it's trying to catch something early, like breast cancer, like prostate cancer. These checks, if you're not doing them, and let's say you do have one of those cancers and it progresses for 6 months before you pick it up, your chances of survival decline and the cost to treat you triples. So the earlier you pick it up, the better it's going to be. Okay, now some practical points. All right, because you could have gone and read the medical aid brochure yourself. So let's be helpful here. Number 1, you may need an authorization to use these benefits. All right, so sometimes people see, okay, I can do a dental check, and they just go do a dental check. But they haven't authorized the preventative benefit. They didn't get an authorization code. So instead of it being paid out of the preventative benefit, it ends up being paid out of your savings. Then you're upset because you're like, but I get this for free. Why is this happening? So you may need an authorization before you have that check done. All right. If you need an authorization, again, those authorizations can by and large be done via your app. Guys, if you don't have the medical aid app for your medical aid, unfortunately, it is the way of the future and you cannot escape it. Okay, they're not even printing medical aid cards anymore. We add new members to medical aid. We say, send us a card for this person. They go, download the app. The cards are electronic. So you're going to have to get onto the wagon. You're going to have to download the app and you're going to have to learn how to use it. And what we will be doing on our YouTube channel in future is posting some videos about the different medical aid apps and how to use them effectively. All right. Then number 2, you get your authorization. Now you are only covered for certain codes. What does that mean? Medical aids have procedure codes. So basically, they're going to give you a list of the codes that you're covered for. They're going to say code 190275, whatever it is. If your doctor does something that's not there, it's going to come out of your savings account. So make sure the doctor's only doing the codes that are covered. If they decide to do other stuff, then you're paying for it. 3rd, you're only covered at medical aid rate. So yes, you're covered for the consultation, but the medical aid rate is 200 Rand and your doctor charges 600. The 400, that's for you to pay. So just be aware of these things when you use the preventative benefits, that you know if you need an authorization, which codes are covered and what the Rand amount is, so that you know what you're going to be in for over and above. And then some schemes also limit which service providers you can use. So you can't just take yourself off to whichever doctor or pharmacy, whatever it is. You actually have to use somebody on their list in order for them to pay for that as a preventative benefit. All right, so that was item number 1. Let's go to item number 2. We'll do a summary at the end. I am moving fast because we have limited time. Tax year end. Okay, now end of this month is tax year end. I just want to highlight for those of you on a retirement fund or a retirement annuity, a couple of benefits in terms of putting extra money in before the end of the tax year. I'm going to show you the tax deduction impact of a retirement fund top-up. All right. I'm going to give you a fairly simple example. I don't want to overcomplicate it. So what we have here, we have an individual. We assume they earn 450,000 Rand a year. They're contributing to their company fund. So they're already contributing to their retirement fund. And they decide, okay, they're going to put in some extra. Maybe they got paid a bonus. You can put in up to 27.5% of taxable gross income or 350,000 Rand a year into your retirement fund and get a tax deduction. In this example, when this person puts in extra money, so let me just show you here. They're going to put in 15,000 Rand extra, right? And what it does is it reduces their taxable income from 382 to 367. But that effectively pushes them down in terms of the tax tables from one bracket to another bracket. All right. Now, the benefit of that is obviously that they're going to pay less tax because the bracket that they've now been pushed into, the percentage is less that you use to do your tax deduction. So this person decided to pay in 15,000 Rand into their retirement fund. They got a 4,500 Rand tax deduction for that. So instead of it reducing their monthly income by the 15,000 Rand, it actually reduced their monthly income by 10,500. So how does this work practically from a payroll point of view? You're going to contact your payroll. You're going to say, I want to put in an extra 15,000 Rand into my retirement fund. Payroll goes, cool, no problem. We'll put it on the payroll for this month. At the end of the month, you won't clear 15,000 Rand less. You will clear 10,500 Rand less because of the tax deduction. So it's basically the best investment that you can get because you get an instant 4,500 Rand return. Think about it that way. So you've already made 4,500 Rand out of this thing. Plus then it's going to earn all the returns it's going to earn over the time. But it really makes a lot of sense to do this. And if you want some help with doing a calculation to see how much you can put into your retirement fund, or if you put in a certain amount, how much it's actually going to affect your salary, feel free to reach out and we can help you with that. Some practicalities in terms of this, okay, before I go on. Obviously, you can't put in more than you earn. Okay, let's just go over here, because if I earn 30,000 Rand a month and my medical aid comes off and whatever other deductions I have come off, and then I say to payroll, please put 50,000 Rand into my retirement fund, that's going to be an issue because they can't, like, where did they get the 50,000 Rand from? You only earn 30,000 Rand a month. So there are some limits in terms of running this through payroll. Your alternative is to use a retirement annuity in your individual name. So that's your alternative. If you need assistance with that, you can reach out to us. And then the other thing is end of tax year, your tax-free savings accounts. So tax-free savings accounts, you can put in 36,000 Rand a year into that, which means you can do 36,000 Rand now before the end of Feb, and you can do another 36 in March. And they're two different tax years. All right, but it has to be 36,000 a year. You can't wait till March and then say, oh, I want to put in for last year. It doesn't work like that. 36,000 a year. If you have an existing tax-free savings account, just check with your provider the cutoff dates for making your contribution. If you don't have one, we're happy to set one up for you. It takes about 15 minutes of your time for us to set that up for you and get the ball rolling on the tax-free savings accounts. Tax-free savings accounts make great education plans. So if you've been looking for an education plan for your child, you don't have to buy fancy bells and whistles types things, a tax-free savings account works really, really well. All right, and we will be doing some more webinars later in the year on a little bit more about tax-free savings and how they work. All right, next thing, review beneficiary nominations and your will. We have done countless webinars on beneficiary nominations. As if you have life cover, if you have a retirement fund, you need to nominate beneficiaries on those things. All right, when you don't, it's an absolute nightmare. Now, there's this myth, and a lot of our clients believe this myth, only rich people need a will. Okay, you wish. Dying costs a lot of money. And I thought I'd just present you a few numbers today, just to get you thinking, get the cogs turning. Okay, let me show you. Here we have Ava. She's 43. She's got a daughter. She's not married. Her mom lives with her. She earns a reasonable salary, $37,500 a month. Okay, so there's a lot of people who are going to earn more than that. There's a lot of people who are going to earn less, but it's a reasonable salary. She's got a house with 1.2 million. There's a bond owing. She also has a car. She's owing some money on the car as well. She has life cover through her company of 1.35 million. So in her world, I would say this is an average middle class South African. All right, for those of us who are employed, this is kind of our story. We're kind of like this lady. We don't consider ourselves wealthy. So does Ava need a will? Does Ava need to do some planning in terms of if she were to pass away? Let's see what it would cost her to die. Okay, so here we have some calculations. If she were to pass away, what fees she would have to pay. And guys, like when I first had this shown to me, and I mean, I'm a financial planner, I've got an idea of what things cost, but when somebody showed me the actual calculation, I was like, couldn't believe how much it cost. Right, so she's going to have to pay her estate. So her estate's going to have to pay income tax. Her estate's not over 3.5 million, so there's no estate duty. An executor's fee, a master's fee, advertising fee, bond cancellation fees, conveyancing fees, all these fees that have to be paid. Total cost, 189,000 Rand. It would cost Ava to die. Can you believe it is so expensive? And all that money has to come out of the stuff that you own, because there is nowhere else for it to come. If she didn't put a beneficiary on her life cover with the company, that cost goes up to 243,000, because now those fees get applied to the 1.3 million. So that is one of the reasons you should nominate a beneficiary, so that that money doesn't get lumped in with everything else you own and the fees get charged on it. That's one reason. The second reason is because it's going to take 2 years to wind up this estate. In the meanwhile, your beneficiaries can't pay school fees or buy food, because all that money that you had insured is sitting in the estate and they can do nothing with it. Okay, so now what happens to her poor child in the meanwhile? Well, we've got to pay the fees, we've got to pay the bond, we've got to pay the car loan off. That's 1.179 million that's needed from this auntie's estate to pay for everything. She doesn't have that much cash in her estate. So what do you have to do? We've got to sell the house. We sell the house, and the child and the granny have nowhere to live. So it's a mess. And it's not because she was rich, it's because she's an average South African. And it costs a lot of money to pass away. So assuming that she'd left a beneficiary nomination to her child, she's got 1.3 million Rand to live off, and that's it. And 1.3 million Rand sounds like a lot of money. That will not last long. Bringing up a child, paying for rent, because the house had to be sold, school fees, food, all of those. Okay, so clearly you can see that even us average South Africans actually need a will and a plan. And this is one of the reasons, because we've seen this mess unravel over and over and over and over again with the type of work that we do. We have partnered with Capital Legacy, who are a wills company. And so what we can offer every single person, every single client, is that we can send a consultant to you. It doesn't matter where in South Africa you live. We can send somebody to you to sit in your lounge or in your office, wherever you want to do your will, and ask you all the relevant questions about what you want in your will, draft your will, and tell you this is how much it's going to cost if you pass away. Okay? They will also offer you, which you don't have to take, but they will also offer you a protection against all those costs. So basically what they do is they say, do your will with us, we will sort out the estate, and it will cost the estate nothing. They don't charge any of those fees that 189,000 Rand, they won't charge it. All right? They will do everything for you, and nothing will come out of your estate to pay those fees. You will in turn say to them, I want this package, so I want to immunize myself against those costs, and they will work out for you how much it's going to cost you on a monthly basis to immunize yourself. All right, and obviously that depends on the size of your estate and all of that. Now, I'm not a huge fan of insurance, I'm going to be honest, but because of the mess that we've seen over and over and over, we are saying to people, at least sit down and consider the stuff so that we don't have this mess. At least sit down and look at it, have the consultant spend an hour with you, go through everything so you can make informed decisions. All right, so action points. Well, 20 minutes was up. Do your medical aid wellness screening, okay? Start with that, please, because we don't want you to die. We don't want you to need the will. So let's start with the medical aid screening. Authorize your preventative benefits. So most of those preventative benefits you can authorize at the beginning of the year. The authorization is valid for the whole year. So you don't have to worry about it later. Just authorize everything one time now. Okay. Make the extra contribution to your retirement fund, your tax-free savings account. If you don't have one and you need one open, get in touch with us ASAP. Deadline is obviously end of the month, and the money needs to be in before that. Update your beneficiary nomination. If you haven't done this ever, you need to do it today. If you haven't done it for a while, you need to redo it. Maybe you've had a child since, maybe you've got divorced since, something like that. Right, if you've got divorced and your ex-spouse was the beneficiary, they don't care, the life insurance company doesn't care that you got divorced, they're going to give that person the money. So please, update. And then let's book a consultation to send somebody to you to sit and go through your will and make sure that everything in terms of that is sorted out. What do you need to do if you're interested and you'd like to have a follow-up on this? Please, you can either put your put a message in this chat. If you'd like it to be private, you can send me a chat message privately, and we will be happy to assist with any of these particular items. All right. Before I close off, are there any questions that anyone would like to raise? Great. We'll wrap it up there. We will be sending out some follow-up emails on this just to remind you what it was about and invite you to make contact should you wish to take action on any of those items. We plan to schedule our webinar series on a monthly basis where we'll be covering different topics. So we'll send out an invitation on our mailer system for you to subscribe to the webinars, which will basically allow you to add it to your calendar, and then on the day, if you want to attend, you can attend. So look out for that, please. We would love to see you again, and enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Thanks a lot, everybody. Bye-bye.